I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Moon, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter. Hello and welcome to your Aquarius Full Moon Great Mother Speaks reading. This full moon is in the nakshatra of Dhanista. It is a very happy-go-lucky energy, people that are born in it, and actually it's the fewest people of record who are born in this nakshatra than of any other. It is equidistance between Capricorn and Aquarius in the Jyotish astrology, which is what we use here on Great Mother Speaks. She calls it the soul astrology. This is the astrology that really does pace this life with the soul most accurately because it is cosmological. We do use Western astrology in terms of understanding our egoic relationship to the soul. So our emotional state is really important in terms of looking at our Western astrology. Here we deal with mama drama trauma, which is a condition in which the mother projects unhealed issues of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. And so in order to heal mama drama trauma, we have to tap into our intuitive wisdom, which is the fundamental basis of lunar astrology when it is activated as a tool to be used for healing, which is why we use the Jyotish astrology and your Jyotish moon sign, which you can find in the calculator below. Of course, use whichever moon sign most resonates with you at this time. Dashnista is all about an energy of sociability, and following up the new moon reading in Cancer, you may want to check on what your new moon wishes were. I have found with individuals who come for readings how incredible using the follow-up full moon reading within the context of what Great Mother was saying during the new moon gives a very enlightened perspective on how to work with the lunar energies, because with the personal readings, we actually look at your unique cosmic calculus, your moon sign. So even if your moon sign is Aquarius, not all of you have this full moon as your full moon at this particular time. Some of you will have it at other times during the year based on the degree of the moon in which you were born. For example, you may be born at 5 degrees Aquarius, and that's more new moon energy. Full moon energy is 15, 16 degrees, etc., etc. So I want to encourage you to be more familiar with your degrees of your moon sign, because the Lunar New Year for you and the midpoint of your year is going to vary quite a bit with these general readings, as well as configurations, aspects, and planetary placements in your birth chart. So for that, go to greatmotherspeaks.info for a personal reading. I want to let you know that because it is going to also change the nakshatra of your moon sign. And so this, generally speaking, at this time, the moon is in the nakshatra of Dhanista, but you may be in another nakshatra in which you were born. There are an average of 2.5 nakshatras per sign. So there's a toss-up there energetically, but we'll do our best here. This energy overall, generally for all of us speaking here, is a full moon energy of lightheartedness. It's a lightheartedness that is very communicative. It's very socially oriented, highly creative. It's honest. Aquarian energy is very honest, very direct, can be emotionally detached, which in many cases for mama drama trauma is a good thing, because our yellow brick road is a healing road of loving detachment from the drama, the trauma, and in some cases, the mama, if that is necessary. And so this kind of mental acuity comes from a sense of a capability to maneuver one's mental space that's made available through the alchemy of Aquarian energy in this constellation. It is very learned, particularly through its social proclivities, through friends. It really loves to interact with people and create associations with individuals in order to gain its knowledge, in order to really enjoy life. That's an important part of gaining wisdom. And the knowledge is so important in order to be able to decode macro patterns, the macro patterns of life. They're very good architects. They're very good engineers, and they can look at the whole and break it down into detail. And this all seems to come about over a drink after work. They tend to learn quite well in study groups in school. Even their romantic life is centered around social engagement. And so if you're dating someone like this, or you are like this yourself, it may be difficult for you to understand the attachment that people have romantically in relationships that dictates a very singular one-on-one relationship, when in fact love for you is an augmented experience with others. So it's very intuitive at the same time with regard to the unique genius of others, and it likes to tap into that as well as the genius within oneself. So we're talking about the transition from Capricorn energy, which is all about that inner silence and diligent focus and manifesting, to this equidistance to Aquarian energy that's about outer service. And so bringing that inner wisdom, that inner genius, that macro vision into the world through the detailed analysis and connecting with others to manifest that outer service. And so coming through the eclipses and coming through all that we have been experiencing this year with the retrogrades, we now have Jupiter direct as of the 11th of this month. Yes. And so that is a very central theme of this full moon reading. Jupiter is direct again in the sign of Scorpio in the Vedic. So we're going to look at that in each sign as we look at the illumination that this Aquarius full moon in Dashneta has for you. Taurus moon sign people, this is a rebirth full moon for you. This is all about transformation, this Aquarius full moon. It is happening in your 10th house. And so 10th house intuitively is about your dharma, your life purpose, why your soul incarnated. And we know that part of it is to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence per the MDT soul contract. So there's a rebirthing, there's a divine expression of your unique soul that is happening at this particular time with Jupiter going direct and following this eclipse season that we've just gone through. So there may be a sense of a little bit of mental imbalance trying to recalibrate all of this, and a need for real conscious application of what you now know to be your truth going forward. Now, Jupiter is in your 7th house of soul contracts, speaking again of intuitive houses and how we use the astrological aspects to gain wisdom about the celestial support available for us. What's bringing up the work your soul wants to do with regard to this rebirth moving forward is Isis, is the maternal energy of self-mothering. And so there's a need going forward to mother yourself now more than ever. It's a regrounding, as we see with the root chakra in this card. It's a regrounding that has to do with Saturn, and Saturn being conjunct Ketu in Sagittarius is 8th house energy of rebirth and transformation. So, a new way of mothering yourself moving forward, a new way of self parenting, a new way of, in other words, giving yourself the compassion, nurturance, and understanding that you need, taking it up a notch, taking it up a level, giving yourself even more than you have to get to even this point. Taurus moon sign people. And you're going to be able to do that because there's a true kind of occultist, esoteric power that this moon is allowing you to tap into. Because what you may not see is the Dagda in your shadow position, the double yin second chakra card. It's third quarter moon, which is all about release and letting go, which is what we know with Mama Drama Tama. We are grieving. We're letting go of the mother we want in order to accept the one we have. You have downloaded a great deal during this Jupiter retrograde about your grieving process. You, in fact, activated that process very powerfully back in April. And at this particular time, you are perhaps not aware of how much you've downloaded since Jupiter went retrograde. And now that it's going direct, there's a lot of esoteric power that you have as a result. And that's perhaps why your desire is the law of ego form and manifestation. You're wanting to bring into physical manifestation through your own life experience what you have downloaded in the double yin, single yang symbol, which is about activating, manifesting what you've downloaded. The Ankh card is a third eye card that is ruled by Cancer and the moon. So Mercury and Venus are in Cancer in your third house. So you want the confidence to activate the wisdom that you've downloaded. And what's supporting you to do this is more third eye energy of Taurus in the waning gibbous moon card of centering. Tara is all about living in the present, being grateful, in fact, for the now, the breath, the breathing in and out, no longer waiting or delaying that moment of peace, of being at home. Just giving yourself the permission to excuse yourself from the drama of life. It may just be the Ferris wheel of life. You may be having a good time, but sometimes even within that, self-mothering and self-loving, within that, slowing down and accepting the support of Tara, Great Mother symbolized by Glenda, to tap our heels 3 times, body, mind, and soul, and to even deeper, again, up a notch, go into that space of peace that is beyond all action, beyond all conception of doing, and just existing in that space. This is the energy that's supporting you. It's coming directly from Great Mother. It's being urged directly from Isis energy. And you have been doing your internal work in order to receive it. So right now, in your position of ego soul alignment is acknowledge. Acknowledge is the balsamic moon card and the A in the acronym for aspire. We all aspire to live in loving detachment. So the one God, one law card is all about us all being able to recognize that we come to our healing space of peace when we get there, and we all get there in our own unique time. But we do all get there because we're all connected. Now, this means that your present state of ego soul alignment has a lot to do with your ability to recognize you are a problem solver. You are no longer a victim of blame, shame, and guilt that perpetuates mama drama trauma. You recognize that that is a problem when it exists in your consciousness. And so you have been practicing the healthy boundaries through the self-mothering. Now you're at a point of acknowledging whenever that shows up in your life, in whatever form it shows up in your life, and realizing you are simply being triggered and it is no longer a reality for you as a divine child of the great Mother, Father, God, who is dearly loved, never judged, condemned, or left alone. So whenever we are triggered, we simply acknowledge the triggers, and that's where you are. Why your soul wants to do this work of rebirth at this particular time is so that you remain liberated. And if you haven't gotten to the stage that I'm describing, that you become emancipated from the shame, blame, and guilt of mama drama trauma. This is why your soul wants to do this breath work. It wants to do this work of recognizing all that it has downloaded over this retrograde period as it moves forward. Now, how it wants to do this is with the power of Pele, to awaken with this crescent moon Martian energy. Mars rules the nakshatra of the Nesta. It is the emissary, so to speak. It is the energy by which we learn how to be more communicative, more social, and more happy-go-lucky, as this nakshatra is, as it uses its wisdom. And as you begin to activate your esoteric powers that you've garnered through this season of download, Great Mother is encouraging you to be happy-go-lucky about it, to enjoy yourself, to nurture yourself, to love yourself, to live in a space of now with the freedom and liberation that you need to actually ground and experience yourself as divine. Isn't that wonderful, Taurus moon sign people? This is the awakening of Pele. In fact, this is when Dorothy arrives in Munchkin Land and is asked by Glenda, who symbolizes Great Mother, the Munchkins want to know, are you a good witch or a bad witch? To which Dorothy answers, I'm not a witch at all. I'm Dorothy from Kansas. So how your soul wants to do this work, Taurus moon sign people, is by taking it up a notch for you in terms of now you being able to answer, are you a good witch or a bad witch, now that you have been on your Yellow Brick Road journey and returned home with the acknowledgement of all of those things which you have learned and evolved in self-love and spiritual independence. A bad witch, remember, hurts herself and others, uses her powers, esoteric and otherwise, to hurt herself and others. And a good witch uses her powers to heal herself and others, to live her birthright of being happy, healthy, and whole, in order for others to also do that in her presence with the law of one God. So, gut chakra energy, how we are happy-go-lucky, indicates a very determined energy, a very powerful energy to do that. And those of you who may have Mars aspects, whether you're conjunct Mars or trine Mars, or all of you are opposing Mars with a Scorpio in your Taurus moon sign, this is a very clear indication that as you awaken to your powers as a divine child, you will be able to sense more clearly your intuitive guidance, not just from a Tara third eye perspective, but within your body more clearly. And having done this rebirthing work moving forward, owning your intuition, owning the acknowledgement of triggers and putting them up against the reality of your divinity and allowing them to melt away, owning your liberation from it, the outcome most likely for you is going to be Brigide, the full moon throat chakra card. This card of selfhood is all about inspiration. Your outcome will be to inspire not only yourself, but others to be reborn through these very difficult, challenging energies of this time in order to take their power back. As we see in the Brigade card, it is the scene when Dorothy takes the broom from the witch's guards, which she was told she must do in order to return home. Peace, rebirth, being in the present. It is a practice, and it is something that you're quickly mastering, Taurus moon sign people. Those of you who may be listening for the first time and have no idea what I'm talking about, it's such a small group here because these are designed primarily for my clients at greatmotherspeaks.info. I would say to you that this is an indication that through your own work and your own means, you are coming to this point, or this is such a tremendous desire that you do. Great Mother has just given you the roadmap. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all, and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks. I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Moon, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary.
Great Mother speaks to us in raw, realistic, and righteousness. Great Mother speaks to those of us who are most alienated from her unconditional love due to our birth mother experience. Here, welcome to Great Mother Speaks to Us.